Michelle Newman, Vestavia Hills. May I address my remarks to the chamber and yield the remainder of my time to Westfall from Vestavia?
That is your right.
I'd just like to say that this is not, as the previous delegate stated, the most extreme example of civil asset forfeiture. The fact of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, is that the police can take whatever they want from you. They can take your car, they can take, your any other car that you have, not just one. They can take your clothes, they can take your money, they can take furniture from you. It doesn't matter. If they can say, we think this person committed a crime, they can take your property. Thank you. I yield the remainder of my time to Westfall from Vestavia.
Delegate, you have a minute and 20 seconds.
Westfall, Vestavia Hills delegation, may I address my remarks to the chamber?
That is your right.
It is an anomaly that the police department, a group of people already under great scrutiny, is allowed to take someone's personal property with no just cause. A previous delegate discussed the kinds of attacks the cops are under, and some of them are open to interpretation, but this is a completely undeniable fact. The cops are infringing on our rights as citizens of Alabama. Grant yourself your rights again by fixing the criminal justice system and voting yes on this bill. Thank you. I yield my time to the chamber.
The delegate has graciously yielded her time to the chair, and with that, the floor is once again open for debate.
Newman, Vestavia, may I address my remarks to the chamber?
You may.
A previous delegate sort of implied that we don't see a lot of natural disasters in the state, and I would just like to say that it's not true. In 2011, we had, I think, 5 tornadoes in Jefferson County alone in one day, in less than 24 hours. We're in the middle of the worst El Nino pattern since 1998. There's overwhelming evidence of natural disasters in the state and around the country, and so I think it's not fair to say that there's not cause for the patron's bill. With that, I would like to say that I'm in strong affirmation of this bill, and I urge you to vote yes, in favor of it, excuse me. With that, I yield the remainder of my time.
The patron has waited for a summary. The floor is
The patron of Senate Bill 14, please come forward, and will the reading clerk please read the short title?
Unfound Families Act.
And patron, 1 moment, real quick. Before we start this next bill, I want to make a quick announcement. So I've been told that there's been a good bit of cell phone usage in chamber. And while that's perfectly fine to do outside of the chamber, please refrain from doing so, and bear in mind that not only can the people sitting in these 2 rooms behind you see you, but all of the advisors are staring right down at you. So with that in mind, please be respectful of the people presenting. They put a lot of effort into this, and they deserve your undivided attention. So with that, patron, you have 2 minutes for your opening remarks.
Newman, Vestavia, may I address my remarks to the chamber and thereafter yield the remainder of my time to my closing summation?
That is your right.
Thank you, Sir Chair. With the June 26, 2015 ruling of Overfell versus B. Hodges, same-sex couples have the right to get married, and then they are entitled to the same rights as straight couples that are married too. One of these rights is, of course, the right to adopt children. Unfortunately, the Alabama Law Code does not reflect the Supreme Court's ruling. In fact, the language of our law code could be exploited to prevent same-sex couples from adopting a child. We cannot afford to stifle adoption when in the United States 49% of pregnancies are unintended, and every year 750,000 teenage girls get pregnant, and out of them, 50% of them won't graduate high school, and there are currently over 6,000 children in our state foster care system. Thank you. I yield the remainder of my time to my closing summation.
Patron, you have yielded 1 minute and 5 seconds to your closing summation. And with that, the floor is now open for debate.
There's still some work to do to close the gap of inequality in regards to marriage. Now, a previous delegate brought up the foster home issue that came up several bills earlier. And the mere fact that the foster home issue continues to come up in multiple conversations that we have is evident that there needs to be something done. And while this will not necessarily solve that problem entirely, this is certainly a wonderful step towards solving that problem. Furthermore,
Patron, please yield to a possible series of questions, and thereafter may I address my remarks to the chamber.
Patron, do you yield?
Yes.
That is your right.
Now, in the adoption process, if this bill is implemented, would the same processes go into, like, choosing the parents and making sure that it was a good home for the children? Like, would we ensure that the children, no matter who their parents were, would have a good home, just as we do now?
Of course.
Okay, and isn't it true that we allow single parents to adopt children as, like, right now?
Yes.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we allow single parents to adopt children all the time. This bill is providing a child with 2 parents, whereas in an orphanage, they have 0 parents. They merely have advisors, they merely have people that are in charge telling them what to do, and that are not providing them with sufficient love and with sufficient care that they need in a daily basis. And without sufficient love and without sufficient care, it is proven that it leads to crime, to an increase in crime rate. And she is providing children with 2 parents, and I am sure that the child would not care the sex of their parents as long as they would have 2 in a stable home with a stable life with a caring family. Thank you. I yield the remainder of my time.
The delegate has graciously yielded, and I do this motion is passed. We will move to previous question on this bill. Patron, you now have, give me a moment, you have 5 minutes and 35 seconds for your closing summation. You may begin when ready.
Thank you, Sir Chair. Newman Vestavia, may I address my remarks to the chamber?
That is your right.
Yesterday, I had the privilege of watching actual debate on this very Senate floor, along with several other members of Governor McNally's cabinet. Senator Coleman Madison of Birmingham, said something that really stuck with me. She said, Alabama is a strange state in relation to our resistance to progress. She was right. Alabama has been on the opposite side of progress since the day it became a state. For example, June 11, 1963, Governor George Wallace stood between a young black girl and her college education, physically stood between her and the Foster Auditorium at the University of Alabama. For a very long time after the Supreme Court's decision, probate clerks and judges around the state refused to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. In many cases, the federal government has had to come into our state and force us to move forward. I have lived in this state for my entire life, and I love this state with my whole heart. I'm tired of journalists and news anchors and comedians criticizing us, mocking us, snubbing every accomplishment that we achieve. I'm tired of being at the bottom. I'm tired of being number 50. The people of Alabama deserve better. This state deserves better. I want to be number 1. Thank you. I yield the remainder of my time.
The patron has graciously waived further summary, and with that we will move to a vote on this piece of legislation. All those in favor of passing this bill, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, nay. It's in the opinion of this chair that this bill has passed, and it has.